Are you tired of feeling trapped in the never-ending cycle of perfectionism? I have 6 powerful steps to help you free yourself. Find out how top athletes like Michael Jordan and Serena Williams became the best by doing the opposite of perfectionism. Plus, find out what The Rock, Emma Watson, and Keanu Reeves have in common, and the unexpected link between killing vampires and perfectionism. And if you stay till the end, we'll uncover the most classic mistake that perfectionists make when trying to break free. Step 1. You misunderstand. Have you ever believed that being the best and having perfectionism are the same thing? Well, guess what? You're not alone. It's a common misconception, but let me tell you, they are actually 2 very different creatures. Perfectionism is like a tricky little voice that whispers in your ear saying, if you can be flawless in everything, you'll avoid criticism, blame, and those moments of ridicule. It's all about hiding your flaws that this tricky voice believes aren't lovable. As the wise Anne Lamott once said, perfectionism is the enemy, keeping you cramped and driving you crazy. It's like wearing a tight straitjacket that limits your growth and sanity. Even someone as talented as Emma Watson openly admits her struggles with perfectionism. But she has learned to embrace imperfections and understand that pursuing perfection never ends. Perfectionism is like a twisted knight in shining armor. It genuinely wants to make you feel worthy of love and recognition. But alas, the consequences it brings can be utterly destructive because it is born from a dark place called toxic shame. Just as there are different types of cholesterol, there are also 2 forms of shame, the healthy kind and the toxic one. Toxic shame is like a festering wound deep within, causing us to feel unworthy, inadequate, and utterly worthless. It's a soul sickness that tears us apart from ourselves and others, thriving in secrecy and disguising itself. Just like a sly vampire, making it difficult to recognize. But fear not. With some practice, we can learn to spot its many faces and the distracting behaviors it causes. But where does it come from? Toxic shame often stems from a belief that we are inherently flawed or undeserving, usually rooted in early experiences of criticism, rejection, or neglect. We absorb this toxic shame from caregivers, societal pressures, or traumatic events. Perfectionism, my friend, is an answer to a sick society that preys on our insecurities and can have a profound impact on our psyche and relationships. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, everyone needs a sense of shame, but no one deserves to feel ashamed. On the other hand, we have something called healthy shame. This type of shame acts like a moral compass, guiding us to correct our harmful actions and seek acceptance from others. Healthy shame reminds us that we're not perfect beings, but rather flawed individuals who make mistakes and need help from others. It humbles us and encourages us to be better people. It gives us permission to embrace our human nature. Healthy shame is quite the opposite of perfectionism and can serve as a valuable ally when striving for excellence in your chosen field. As Brené Brown aptly puts it, perfectionism is a 20-ton shield we lug around thinking it will protect us when it's the thing that's really preventing us from being seen. Here's the secret weapon to slay your perfectionistic vampire: sunlight. Just like vampires hide from daylight, toxic shame and perfectionism tremble at the sight of your true self, basking in the sunlight of acceptance and vulnerability. They can't survive if we open up about what is shameful. Of course, it won't be easy. There will be intense resistance, like a vampire fighting for its life. But take inspiration from Harrison Ford, who battled with perfectionism and discovered a new way of living that allowed him to thrive in his career. Step 2. Repair your most important relationship. Imagine your relationship with yourself as the only house you'll never be able to move out of. You can't escape it, so why not make it a place of love and care? That's why you're here, taking the time to watch this video, to do some good housekeeping for your inner self. Matthew McConaughey knows a thing or two about this. He has spoken about his personal journey of self-reflection and introspection, and he emphasizes authenticity, embracing vulnerability, and staying true to oneself. Perfectionism is not about striving for greatness. It's about constantly seeking out the worst in yourself. It's that nagging voice telling you that nothing you do will ever be good enough. But guess what? Just like garlic weakens a vampire, you can weaken the grip of perfectionism by embracing the parts of yourself that toxic shame labels as unlovable. Tara Brach, a wise teacher and psychologist, teaches us that self-acceptance begins with simply recognizing and befriending your own experiences. It means being aware of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment or the need to change them. Instead of getting trapped in self-criticism or blame, Brock urges you to approach yourself with kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. Embrace your imperfections, your struggles, and know that despite it all, you are worthy of love and belonging. Self-compassion is a tool that even Anne Hathaway, the talented actress, has discussed in relation to her perfectionism and early career pressures. It starts with recognizing that suffering is a part of the human experience. We all go through struggles, imperfections, and moments of pain. It's about treating ourselves with the same care and compassion we would show a dear friend. How would you talk to someone you deeply care about? That's how your inner dialogue should be. By embracing your whole self, including the parts you might consider broken or flawed, you create a space for healing and transformation. The Dalai Lama was surprised the first time he learned that self-compassion is such a common struggle for many in the Western world. In his culture, it's considered a fundamental skill practiced from childhood, an essential part of finding true happiness and liberation. Kristen Neff, a psychologist and researcher, has explored self-compassion from a Western perspective. You can visit her homepage to learn more about her research and even take a self-compassion test. I'll put a link below in the comments. If you're seeking healing from past experiences, it's a great idea to consult a licensed psychologist who can guide you in the beginning. Perfectionism is all about running away from emotional pain. To free ourselves from toxic shame, we must learn to embrace our emotions instead, even the difficult ones. Self-worth isn't something that magically appears. It evolves when we take responsibility for ourselves and our feelings. It's a practice, a daily habit, a journey. Gratitude and mindfulness are two powerful skills that can aid us along the way. And in this process, replacing self-blame with self-forgiveness becomes crucial. I will talk more about forgiveness in future videos. Perfectionists often links their self-worth to the approval or disregard of others. But when we accept ourselves, sharing our thoughts and creativity becomes a liberating experience. While appreciation from others is still important, our self-worth is no longer tied to their reactions. We can express ourselves authentically and embrace our uniqueness. Step 3. Embrace your vulnerability. Courage starts with showing up and allowing ourselves to be seen, just like Keanu Reeves, Justin Bieber, and Trevor Noah have done by sharing their personal challenges in public. Do you think of them as weak? Not at all. They're doing the brave work of discovering who they are and living it. Imperfections aren't inadequacies. They're reminders that we're all in this together. Hey, before we proceed, I want to ask you to hit like and subscribe if you like this video. That will help me reach more people and support me in the work of creating more content. Thanks. Embracing your vulnerable humanity is like adding a wooden stake to that garlic, giving you even more power in your life, while your vampire of perfectionism grows weaker. Owning your story can be challenging, but running from it is even harder. Just look at Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who has shown vulnerability and shed tears while discussing his personal challenges and successes. He knows that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's actually the greatest measure of courage. When you open up and embrace your true self, shame loses its power. Take Chris Martin, the talented musician, and Coldplay frontman, for example. He has battled perfectionism and learned to embrace imperfections in his music and performances. When you dare to be authentic, you give your perfectionism a tough time. It can't stand having words wrapped around it. What it craves is secrecy, silence, and judgment. Authenticity is a collection of choices you make every day. It's about choosing to show up and be real. A choice to be honest and let your true self be seen. To be authentic, you need to reflect on your values, passions, and identity. It's a journey that takes time, so be patient with yourself, imperfections and all. When you dare to show the world who you truly are, that's true bravery. Sure, it can be tough if others react negatively, but their reactions don't define you. Your bravery does. No matter how the world responds, you show courage by being authentic. Start small by showing vulnerability to yourself, and then gradually share it with people you trust. Practice, stick with it, and build a habit of being your genuine self. It may be scary, but it's also incredibly freeing. Embrace your vulnerability and let your true color shine. And with that, let's move on to the next step. Step 4. Adopt a growth mindset. You might think of Serena Williams as a perfectionist, driven by an unyielding pursuit of flawlessness in her tennis career. But here's the secret. Serena didn't let perfectionism hold her back. Instead, she embraced something called a growth mindset that propelled her to unimaginable heights. She understood that striving for excellence didn't mean hiding her flaws. In fact, she knew that self-sabotaging with perfectionism would have hindered her progress and prevented her from becoming the world's best tennis player. So what is this growth mindset? It's not some mythical magic, but a scientifically supported belief in the power of effort, effective strategies, and a positive attitude. Psychologists and researchers have championed this mindset. It's all about understanding that your abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits. You have the power to develop and improve them through dedicated effort and adopting effective strategies. Now let's talk about the opposite, a fixed mindset. People with fixed mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence are set in stone. They fear failure, avoid challenges, and set unrealistically high standards for themselves. They see setbacks as a reflection of their limitations, and they may even feel threatened by the success of others. Do you hear the resemblance of perfectionism? It's like climbing Mount Everest and expecting to be at the peak after the first step. There's no room for the long journey, no room for growth, no acclimatization. Perfectionism is like worrying about what others will think of you. It's like having a vampire chasing you, but instead of a wooden stake, you need a growth mindset. A growth mindset is a superhero that defeats perfectionism with its superpowers of progress, learning, and resilience. It's like trading a vampire for a shiny silver bullet, way more effective. It's like climbing all 4,420 grueling steps to the top of Mount Everest. It's a tough journey, but John Legend, the talented singer-songwriter, knows it's not about reaching the peak instantly. He appreciates the process, the ups and downs, and focuses on growth rather than seeking perfection. He's the legend who understands that the beauty lies in the journey itself. Perfectionism brings dissatisfaction, anxiety, and a constant feeling of not being good enough. It's like being stuck with a villain from a movie, like Darth Vader. He embraces a fixed mindset, choosing the dark side of the Force and rejecting redemption. It is no coincidence that the villains in a story usually have a fixed mindset. But hey, we don't need that negativity. Instead, strive to be your best. It's like aiming for the slam dunk in basketball. Just think of Michael Jordan, the legendary basketball icon. He showed us the power of a growth mindset through dedication, continuous improvement, and bouncing back from challenges. He turned mistakes into learning opportunities and reframed them with a grin on his face. He once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Striving to be the best is all about personal growth, setting ambitious goals, and working hard while keeping a positive mindset. And guess what? You don't have to be excellent or aim to be number one. You have the freedom to choose how you want to live your life. And let's be honest, for most of us, the struggle of being number one is just not worth it. So embrace the growth mindset, laugh at perfectionism, and enjoy the wild and wonderful ride of freedom from perfectionism. Remember, life's too short to let vampires chase you. Step 5. From faking it to authenticity. Imagine this. You're standing at a crossroads between faking it and embracing your true, authentic self. It's like deciding whether to wear a mask or show your beautiful, imperfect human soul to the world. It might be tempting to hide behind the mask and avoid your fears, but I hope by now you see the terrible price you pay for that illusion of comfort. Let's embark on a journey from faking it to being authentic. Authenticity is about knowing who you are and being brave enough to live it. It is closely linked to showing vulnerability towards others, and that requires courage. Toxic shame, that sneaky emotion, likes to creep up on us when we compare ourselves to others or feel judged by them. But here's the truth. Shame loses its grip when we shine a light on it. But that is scary, right? Now I want to introduce you to a rapper and entrepreneur who knows a thing or two about overcoming fear, Jay-Z. He didn't let the darkness consume him. Instead, he faced his struggles with mental health head-on and shared his story with the world. By embracing his authentic self, he transformed fear into strength and became an inspiration for many. How liberating it is to expose your most authentic vulnerability to the world. By wholeheartedly embracing and owning your true self, you cultivate rock-solid resilience. While others may hold hurtful opinions about you, they no longer have the power to define who you are. Here's the secret. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a superpower in disguise. Take it from Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer who dove into his battles with depression and emerged as a mental health advocate. By acknowledging and leaning into his vulnerability, he turned it into a source of strength and resilience. But let's be real. Embracing your authentic self doesn't mean you have to shout your imperfections from the rooftops to everyone. Take small steps, giving your soul a warm, comforting hug. According to Chodron, the wise Buddhist nun, vulnerability is a fundamental part of being human. Instead of avoiding it, she encourages us to see vulnerability as an opportunity for growth and understanding. So repeat after me. Vulnerability is courage. Say it loud and proud, because vulnerability is a wellspring of strength. Vulnerability is not about winning or losing, but summoning the courage to hop on and show up, even when you have no control over the outcome. It's like strapping yourself in, screaming with a mix of fear and excitement, and trusting that the ride will take you to amazing places. Now here's the trick. Freeing yourself from the clutches of perfectionism is far more important than avoiding the discomfort of your fears. And who knows, maybe one day you'll gather the courage to fully embrace your true self, just like Prince Harry. He's a shining example of authenticity, openly discussing his struggles with mental health and grief. He didn't just acknowledge his vulnerability, he integrated it into his identity, using it as the roots that make him strong enough to weather any storm. Now it's time to take that vampire of perfectionism and toss it into the fire, never to return. Follow the lead of Justin Timberlake, who has fearlessly embraced authenticity in public. He's admitted to his perfectionist tendencies and worked on embracing mistakes and imperfections in his creative process. Imagine the power when someone tries to shame you, but you confidently respond, "Yeah, I'm not the prettiest," with a mischievous smile. Their attempt to offend you will crumble before your self-assuredness. There is an additional bonus to embracing vulnerability that has the power to heal loneliness and fuel happiness. When we courageously expose our most authentic and vulnerable selves to the world, it allows love to flourish. It becomes a secret handshake that silently communicates, "I see you, and I am here with you." Just as Selena Gomez bravely shares her struggles with illness and mental health challenges, it creates an opportunity for empathy and support from the world. It serves as a reminder that no thought or idea is insignificant and that we all harbor questions within ourselves. The display of vulnerability invites others to connect with you on a deeper level and allows for genuine, meaningful interactions. It shows the beauty of being human with all your complexities and imperfections. Now let's dive into the mistake you most likely will do as a true perfectionist. Step 6. Be imperfect in your effort to be perfect. Have you ever witnessed a stand-up comedian who effortlessly delivers joke after joke, making you laugh until your sides hurt? What if I told you that those comedians embrace imperfection and find humor in their own mistakes? It's true. They understand that the magic lies in the unexpected, in the moments when they stumble over their words or their timing is slightly off. Those imperfections become the source of their brilliance and relatability. If your perfectionism runs deep, you probably need to plan for failure. You should prepare yourself to make glorious mistakes until they become second nature. Embrace the idea of initially failing to push yourself beyond your comfort zone and seize that opportunity to practice the skills explained in this video. Remember to celebrate the small victories that come your way. If you are confused about who your true self is, the next video is for you. It will give you the tools to clear up the confusion. By clicking on the video, you will know exactly what to do.